Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the time is finally here. It's time for me to present you the brand new scoring board and trimmer from Sizzix. This is a one-stop shop for all your paper crafting needs, whether it be cards, envelopes, boxes, bags, bunting, tags, and so much more. It comes in this wonderful sturdy box. So let's have a look what's inside. So this is everything that you're going to get in this box. You get a wonderful instruction manual. We'll have a look at that in a second. You get your envelope generator. I will explain that in the fullness of time as well, because this is what it's all about. This is the scoring board and trimmer. It has a wonderful sturdy base, so it's got some great feet holding it in place there. Now, I'm going to say at the outset, when we were developing this tool, we said, guillotine trimmer. I don't like trimmers. And the guy said, why don't you like trimmers? And I said, well, they're insubstantial. They never cut straight. You know, when you put heavyweight paper, this is a game changer. Take a look at this. It's got a really, really super thick aluminium rail. You've got this lovely substantial handle, smooth, wonderful glide, ergonomics all round. Now, if I unclip that, there's one thing I didn't show you actually that's in the box, and that is the spare blade. So you're getting a spare blade. How long do the blades last? I can't honestly say because I'm still using my original one at the moment, but how quick and easy is that to detach and replace? Now, that is the wonderful trimmer. The trimmer itself is phenomenal, but one of the most important things about this, now of course this is cards, envelopes, boxes, bags. Do you work in Imperial measurements? Do you ever get 10 by 10, 12 by 12, 8 by 8 paper and cardstock? Do you follow American tutorials sometimes online where people are talking in inches and fractions of an inch? Well, now, whether you work in one or the other, or sometimes you like to work in both, this is great because look what happens here. This is your scoring board. All I do is slide that out and suddenly I'm into inches, okay? Now, you'll notice the rule is in centimeters, but if I just unclip that, slide it, flip it over, now we're in inches. So whichever one you want to work in, that's going to be fabulous, because we know in the past, if you get a product which has inches at the front, it will have centimeters behind it, and it's very, very hard to get an accurate matchup. Now with this tool, you have the best of both worlds. So let's flip it back over just to show you once again how quick and easy that is. So suddenly from inches, we are back to centimeters right there. Okay, now, so that's your scoring board. This is essential when you're making your boxes and your envelopes and so on and so forth. You'll also notice we have 3 lovely punches, and these are completely interchangeable. You can put them where you want. You can use them independent of the tool. This one you'll notice has 2 different punch heads. One cuts a corner, a straight corner, the other one a round corner. So if you want to cut your cardstock and round off the edges, you can do that. But there is a very good reason why they're placed where they are, which we'll come to in a second. Now, for envelope making, we know there are similar tools where you need an extra bit to get that angle. Look at this. This is what we call a hub. I'm going to slide that across, bring that around to 45 degrees. Now it's in envelope mode. Now when it's like this, we can cut envelopes, but you'll notice you can find different angles, 15, 30, 45, 60, and they're all written on the hub. So you know exactly where you are. That is great when you want to do your bunting and so many more things besides, but we will come back to that. Now, of course, we're going to show you how to make an envelope and a card and all those different things and put the functionality of this tool to the test. But when we're scoring, we're going to need a scoring tool, and that's where our wonderful Sizzix fold and form comes in so handy. Again, I will tell you about the functionality of this, why there's that little gap there, but it comes in the tool like that, stores away, and there we have it. So the great thing about this tool, before we get into using it, is there are no extraneous bits. There is nothing unnecessary here. Everything you will need is on this tool and nothing more. And because we did it like that, that means we can up the quality and you will get it at a great price. So let's take a look at cards and envelopes, but before we do, of course, we have to go through the instructions. I'm not going to go through them. I'm just going to show you that they're heavy on pictures and light on text, which is quite refreshing, to be honest. I cannot stand instruction booklets. There are QR codes as well for your envelope generator and box generator. More of that later. But it's all there. It's all there in pictorial form. So even if you don't speak any of the languages, the 4 languages in which it's printed, you can still get on with it. This is your envelope generator in both centimeters and inches. And this is how we find out the size of our envelopes. And again, we'll look at that in a moment, but we're all ready to go. Let's see the tool in action. Now, if you're a card maker, I love making cards, then being able to cut the card to size and being able to create an envelope for that card and crease it accurately as well is super important. Now, we had to be careful about the size of cards we make because there are only so many standard types of envelopes. With this tool, it's bespoke. You can create your own envelope to fit the card that you make. So let's look at a slightly odd size, and we'll start off with trimming this down. Now, I'm going to cut this at 11. You can see the mark here, and I'm going to be working in centimeters. So, of course, we slide that so it's flush against there. That's how we know we've got an accurate straight cut. And for the height of this card, now standard cards in metric, we 14.85 or 15 centimeters. I'm going 16.5. So this is both taller and narrower than a standard card. So there's my card blank. You can see I'm using the Sizzix festive pattern paper here, which are double-sided, of course. Now, let's turn that to there. Now I am in scoring mode. So this is my 0 mark right here. And I want to score down the center of this card. So I'm going to take my lovely fold and form. Thus, and let's move it along. So what did we say? That's 11. So I want to move along till I come to 5.5. And the fold and form follows this channel. So you simply bring that down. You don't need to apply too much weight. As long as you get that crease, then you can fold it over like so. Now, use your tool to burnish that edge so you get a lovely, crisp, clean fold. And that's important, of course, when we're making boxes as well. So there's your base card. So when it comes to making the envelope for this card, we do have a very handy, as I mentioned in the introduction, an envelope generator. Now, I get it, this looks really complicated, but it is so simple. It's in centimeters and it's in inches if you require. And what we do, now of course, this is a physical envelope generator. So I'm going to put that in the corner here. Let's bring this to the center of the shot. So whatever card I have, I put it in the corner. And then the tip of the card, we follow that up, and I get 2 numbers, 18.6 and 15.8. Now the top number, 18.6, is my stock size. So I need to cut the card to make my envelope to 18.6 by 18.6. Underneath is where we measure on the tool. The number underneath, we'll come back to that when we reach it. But you know what? That is the physical envelope generator. But we do have an online generator as well. So if you use the QR codes in your instructions, it will take you to that. Or, as here, you could go to the Sizzix website and you know, Sizzix scoring board and trimmer, box and envelope generators. And then this is the box generator, which we will come back to. But the envelope generator, all you do is pop in the dimensions. So you measure your card. So that's 16.5 by 5.5. Here we've got 10 by 12.5. So the length and the width, you press generate now, and what that will give you is the measurements. So it's 18.2 by 18.2, and then the line is 18.6. We're going to show you that. It's so easy. It's kind of intuitive anyway, but with the help of technology, that's going to get us over the line. So let's put the phone to one side. And we'll come back again. So, what did we say? 18.6 by 18.6, and then 15.8. So I'm going to take my cardstock. This is the double-sided Sizzix cardstock again. So I'm going to measure 18.6 along there. And I'm going to trim that to size. And then we'll turn that around, and again, 18.6, like that. So that's my square of card. That is going to form my envelope. The reason I cut that little strip, it's all about the fold and form. So remember this groove down the center? Slide it over a piece of card, or it could be a die-cut flower petal, and you can get that lovely curl and dimension. So if you're making lovely ribbons for your gift packaging, absolutely perfect. Fold and form. Really, really cool too. So, it's my envelope. It's 18.6 by 18.6. Now, I need to move into envelope mode. To do that, I slide this across and get it to the point where it says 45 degrees. Now remember the second measurement on our envelope generator. It was 18.6, and then the number underneath was 15.8. So that's what I need to align this square of card to. So there we have it. That's 15.8. Once I've got that in place, from here on in, it's really very simple. So I make my first crease. Then I flip that around, and you see where that crease line is? I line it up where it says align, there. And I make my second crease. And I just keep doing that. I keep getting this mark next to where it says align, then I go to where it says score, and I continue. So we align on here, and we score on there. Once you've done this a couple of times, it's, you don't even have to think about it, to be quite honest. So we'll pop that into position, and we'll talk about our punches, because I've cut the envelope. You can see where the crease marks are. Now these corners here, this is really clever, and this is why we use it against this straight channel here, because I slide that into place and I pop it down. This is what we call my envelope punch. There. So I get it centered, press it down, perfect. And again, center, press it down, and one more time, and that's the 4. Now, that's it. It's starting to take on a really cool envelope and a very professional appearance as well. So let's get these into this corner. Now again, butting up against that corner means you're going to get a great rounded corner. And one more time, and there. Now, of course, with this envelope particularly, you can see these flaps when you fold them over. They're going to be a bit too big, but that's fine. That's fine. We've got a trimmer here, so let's just trim them down to size. We'll get that again. We'll get it to the 45-degree mark. Snip the edges off here. So not only have we got a really cool envelope, but it's quite unique in its design as well. So let's take our envelope, fold that over like so, and burnish it flat. Once again, let's bring this one over. So that's it. That's it pretty much. It's all ready to go. And there we have it. So a little bit of glue, tape, whatever, pop. So glue that flat, whether you use a tape runner, PVA glue, hot glue gun, whatever it is. And there is your card. So you made the perfect envelope for the perfect card, the perfect size. It's really, really neat, really professional, fantastic, absolutely wonderful. The different envelopes you can make, the different cards, incredible. I'll bring some of those in to show you in a second. But that, my friends, is cards and envelopes. Right, talking of cards and envelopes, as we just were, look at these are just square cards and envelopes, but look at the variety and the sizes you can get. How cute is that? And that's an envelope that's been made using the tool, That is the card that goes with it. You know, I mean, so even if you're making these to sit on the front of a card or on a tag, or maybe in a journal or something like that, a scrapbook album, great sizes for little, you know, little gift cards, whatever, whatever takes your fancy. But of course, we go much bigger than this as well. These are some I made using, this is the similar to the one that we just made actually. Then we've got this size, more square. That's a more standard size card. Then we go down to the gift size envelopes like this. Really, really cute. How much do these envelopes cost when you go to a store? Think about it. So there you go. You can create your own now in whatever size you want. So if you want to give gift tokens or the little, you know, the credit card size ones, you can make the card perfectly and perfectly bespoke to boot. Okay, we've looked at cards, we've looked at envelopes. It's time to turn our attention to boxes. Now, you can create a bespoke box to fit the gift that you're giving perfectly. It's going to fit perfectly. It's not going to rattle around inside. So whether it's something that's round or triangular, you can get the box to fit it. Now, we looked at the envelope generator, the online generator. We also have a box generator online on the same page. So that's going to make things a whole lot easier. But let's do it the old-fashioned way, because I've got this book. I want to give this book as a gift. And you know what? Cupcakes. You can even send cupcakes. If you make to sell, this is an important point. If you make to sell, it could be cupcakes, it could be soap, it could be candles, anything like that. You can create the box to fit. Now, let's measure this. And what I do, what I find is that it's 12 centimeters wide, 15.5 long, and 2.5 deep. Now that 2.5, that is going to form the sides of my box. So when I come to calculate the stock size, that's the card I need to start with. So we're adding the width and the length to the sides, and that gives us 20.5 centimeters long by 17 centimeters wide. So that's what I need to do next. I'm going to take a piece of card. Now, this is Sizzix card. This is our white cardstock. It's a perfect weight for boxes. You don't want to go too light, quite frankly. You want to have the right weight for construction. So we said 17 centimeters. There we are. So I make sure that's perfectly in place, and I trim. And you notice with the trimmer, sometimes I'll trim down, sometimes I'll trim up. It's entirely up to you which way you want to do that. And then we've got 20.5, so it's 17 by 20.5. And there we are. Now that is the base of your box. That is ready to go. When you're creating the lid of your box, and I'm going to create a lid which is the same depth as the box, but you can adjust that obviously. So when you're creating a lid, and I'm doing this with lovely rose gold glitter card, I'm going to do it slightly bigger. So remember we went 17. Now I'm going to move this across to 17.2. So when I go 20.5, I'm adding 2 millimeters, so I'm going 20.7, and there's a very good reason for that, of course, and that is when you have the lid of your box, it needs to be slightly bigger so that we get a lovely snug fit. If it's the same size, it's a bit too snug, quite frankly, but your box generator will do that automatically. You put your figures in, and for the lid, it will give a slightly larger stock size, but the measurements are exactly the same. So let's take our base again. So that was trimming. Now we're into scoring mode simply by flipping that across. So we remember from the illustration, our sides are all 2.5. So I just go around. There's my first 2.5. And just keep going around every time, 2.5 all the way around. That is my box ready to go. So I'm going to go back into trim mode now, because you see where the crease lines are here, these lovely deep crease lines which I've just put in. I'm making sure that they run along the cutting channel, and I bring my blade down like so, and I cut into it slightly. And that's one of the advantages of a trimmer over a guillotine or a trimmer which has a circular blade, for example. You can do these accurate cuts to make your boxes absolutely perfect. So there we have it. Those are my tabs cut to size. See that there? Perfect. Now I'm just going to fold these around. And hopefully, this is going to fit our book perfectly. So that's all folded. We're going to burnish using our lovely fold and form tool as well. So that will give us lovely deep creases, and it gives it that professional edge. So there it is, that's the base of the box, ready to go. Now, you can use your PVA, you can use double-sided tape, whatever you prefer, a tape runner as well. I'm just going to use the glue gun to speed things up today, because we don't want to be watching glue dry, quite frankly, do we? So there we are, come round to the other side. So 4 quick applications of the glue, and that is the base of your box created. Now, as I said, we're going to create a lid that fits snugly here, but you, if you prefer, can have a shallower lid. It's entirely up to you. So there we are. Look at that, absolutely perfect. There's nowhere for that to go. It's just made bespoke. And here's a lid that I created earlier, so you can see it's the same depth, and we'll fit that over the top. Now, look at that, it really does look professional. Pop a bow around there, a tag. We're going to show you how to make tags in a minute as well. Just really, really nice. So that is a simple way of making the box by calculating it yourself. Use the box generator as well, makes things so much easier. But let's take a look at some other variations, some of the different sizes that you can make these wonderful boxes in. There we go. I did promise you a variety, and these are all 2 centimeter boxes, depth of 2 centimeters, but you can see this is a variation of the size of square boxes you can make using A4 cardstock. I mean, you could have deeper sides as well, so they could be tall and thin. These are just squares, so if you want to send sugar cubes or marbles or dice through the post, this is perfect. Maybe if there's any tooth fairies watching, you want to leave a little gift or something like that, or take the tooth or something. The same with the envelopes, just so cutesy. But this is using our Sizzix cardstock. This is our Color Story cardstock, which again is a great weight for making boxes and envelopes. So let's just put these to one side for a sec, because I want to bring some others in. A similar sort of theme, Christmas morning, how about that lovely little tree? Great centerpiece for your Christmas table. You can just make cute decorative boxes as well. And that's using Christmas cardstock. What you could do is use some of our opulence. Now, the opulent cardstock range is something we're very proud of. It's a wonderful weight, but you do get very different surfaces. You get the glitter, you get the pearlized, you get the matte metallic, you get the brushed metallic, you get the mirror. Just really cool, and it does give it that professional look. And again, I keep going back to imagine what you would pay for boxes like this in the shop. Now, we talked about the lids and the depth of the lids. These are the same size box. They're exactly the same size. The only difference is the depth of the lid. This is 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, 3, 4, and 5. This is 5 by 5, obviously, so it completely covers the bottom of the box. But the generator will do all the calculations for you, the online generator, or you can work them out yourself. It's fairly straightforward, but there you go. Let's put those to one side. Now, what kind of weight of cardstock can you use? Well, you can see here, I've used some corrugated card. Craft card is lovely for boxes if you want that aesthetic. This is a great weight, makes for a very sturdy box. This, of course, corrugate, wonderful. I love this stuff. So they are absolutely super. Another way of using your opulent cardstock with Sizzix products is you can cut, you can crease, but before gluing it together, why not run it through one of the lovely Sizzix embossing folders? These are 3 gorgeous Christmas ones. Again, they transform that box into something really neat, really professional, and really bespoke. Or if you do have, we've seen this already with our cards and envelopes, and there's a variety of different shapes and sizes. If you do have double-sided cardstock, it's great for creating different colored lids, different colored bases, envelopes as well. You know, when you look at the inside and it's a different color because you're using double-sided cardstock, it's perfect. And that is the Sizzix festive cardstock. Now, everything that you see here has been made using A4 card, but when you go up to 12 by 12, you can start to make bigger, more impressive, certainly in size anyway, projects. And this is using some wood effect cardstock and some of Tim Holtz's lovely cardstock. So how about that for a box? Look at that one. That's really cool. Lovely design. And of course, we could do exactly the same thing with this. Imagine starting off that size and building that up to the tiniest, quite incredible. And of course, envelopes and cards as well. We can go much bigger using 12 by 12 cardstock, or if you have it, A3. So I'm sure you'll agree there's lots and lots of variety as well. There are different types of box you can make. We will be following up this video with some hacks to show you some of the different things that we've discovered about this wonderful tool. Okay, so we've looked at cards, we've looked at envelopes, we've looked at boxes. It's now time to talk about the finishing touches. We're going to have a look at gift tags. So this is the cardstock. Remember when we cut our card before? Let's make a tag to match that. So I'm going to bring this across, and the measuring part doesn't really matter. But yeah, I'm gonna have a tag about that size. That's a good size for a tag. So what I'm going to do now is turn this to the 45-degree mark, and then when I slide my cardstock in, I want to see kind of, so where I'm cutting across there, that's going to be 45 degrees. That's going to be my shoulder, but I need to measure. So there's a mark there, 16.5. So the corner there is at 16.5. So I make my first shoulder. Again, I come back here, 16.5. I make my second shoulder, and that means I've got complete symmetry. Now, anybody who's ever tried to take a pair of scissors to a piece of rectangular card and you keep cutting until you get it straight, or sometimes you just end up with a little nub of card because you can never get it straight. Now, with this wonderful tool, you can. So let's round the corners off again to give it that little professional touch, and we need a hole. That's where our good friend, the hole punch, who has sat there so patiently, that's where it comes in handy. And there we are. A perfect tag. Always the size you want it, always the color you want it, matching your project, matching up your gift wrap as well, or your box, or so on and so forth. And here's a few more. There's a few more little tags that we cut, again using white card and the paper, but you know, from this really small cute tag, you can go smaller as well, or something big like this. Say it's Christmas morning and your son or daughter is getting a bike. That's a big present. You're going to need a big tag. So that's tags. Now, let's take a look at bunting, because if we're having a party, quite frankly, it would be impolite not to make a bunting, because we've got the boxes and the bags and the cards and the tags and all that malarkey. So let's cut a piece of A4 card, and this is my lovely pattern card. Let's cut this in half. So I'll measure that at 10.5 centimeters, which is half of A4. Now, if I click that to its first mark, which is 15 degrees, I can do some really super thin bunting. Now, the important thing is, move along here, the corner of this card is in the cutting, or over the cutting channel. So I make my first cut and I flip the card. And then again. So always getting that corner there, in the channel. And you keep going and you keep going and you keep going until you get as much bunting as you need. And there we are, there's just 3. And if you're wondering what it looks like, there you go. It's all behind me. That's some we made just before we started filming today. You can flip these over, they're double-sided, so you can get the block color or you can get the pattern. Now, if you want a different type of bunting, how about clicking this to the 30-degree mark and see what happens there. So it's exactly the same process. You're getting the corner of the card into that channel every single time. It's really very quick, really very easy. The results are quite stunning. So, you know, that's the more traditional size of bunting. Now, of course, if you want to string it onto your twine or whatever, you can simply use your hole punch. And as I said, you can use the hole punch independent of the tool if you don't want to do it like that. But the handy thing about having this channel to butt up against is that you're going to get it in the same place every time. So there we are. There is your bunting. There are your tags. I mean, this is just really the tip of the iceberg, but so much fun, so easy to use. And that, ladies and gentlemen, has been our scoring board and trimmer, the gift that keeps on giving. It really is. One thing I really want to say about this tool is it is a really top quality piece of kit. It's the most wonderful trimmer. It's a great scoring board. It's a great size. The punches, everything about it. It's a Sizzix product. So as far as I'm concerned, that means quality. Now, of course, if you want to find out more, that was a very brief overview. If you want to see our envelope and box generators, for example, go to the Sizzix website. You will see the scoring board and trimmer hub. It will give you lots of information. We will be putting on more videos showing you how to go beyond this, how to make different types of boxes and so on and so forth. That was the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to come from this tool creatively. I hope you enjoy yours. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've been Pete, and I'll see you again soon.